I think both, a little of both. First, just to give you a background to the Uganda's Amnesty Act of 2000. I mean, Uganda has been implementing some forms of amnesties throughout our turbulent history. Remember, this is a country that, since attaining independence in 1962, has had about 8 different presidents, non-democratically elected. This country is yet to see a peaceful transfer of power for over 53 years. So each of these governments have been overthrowing the other and implementing some bits of amnesty. So we already had some experience of amnesty in our governance system. But what is unique with the LRA or with the 2000 Amnesty Act is that it was demanded by the victims. The victims who are now frustrated by the government's inability to protect them, having taken them from their villages into internally displaced persons camps.
In Uganda's northern districts, more than 1 million people live in displaced persons camps like this. They were herded into these protection sites in an attempt to make them secure from the rebels of the Lord's Resistance Army, or LRA, and to deny the rebels access to supplies and recruits.
The camps turned out to be a one-stop abduction center for the LRA. So the LRA would simply, instead of running through different villages looking for children to capture, they would just attack one IDP camp and abduct a number of children that they want, and they disappear with them. So it was very insecure for the civilian population. Besides, more people were dying in the camps as a result of this squalid, dilapidated conditions than through direct violence.
The amnesty came about as a demand from the people because this war has dragged on for a long time. And the people felt that if we can forgive the rebellions in the north and forgive them and ask them to come out, maybe the war will come to an end.
So the victims decided to march on the streets of Gulu and Kitgum, calling upon the government to enact an amnesty law to bring back, first, the children who have been abducted, were innocently abducted because the government didn't protect them, but also, two, to open an opportunity for peaceful negotiation and to end that conflict, because militarily there seems to be no end in sight. So together with the religious and cultural leaders, the government initially opposed the amnesty, didn't want to offer amnesty because they thought it would shame them. They wanted to score military point, military victory, and they always promised that the LRA was just a few days left. So we had that statement every single time, that give us 5 months, give us dry season, give us wet season, and nothing was happening. So the victims demanded for the amnesty, the government had opposed the amnesty, the matter was raised in parliament by political leadership from the Acholi sub-region and northern Uganda. It was overwhelmingly supported. In fact, they made sure that the members of parliament would go back to their constituency across the country and consult whether or not the LRA should be given amnesty. And when they went around the country, there was an overwhelming majority of Ugandans asking for the government to put an end to the LRA war, and if amnesty would be that key, then so be it. And when the amnesty was passed, it probably turned out to be one of the most successful legislation in Uganda's history to date. Over 27,000 combatants came out courtesy of the amnesty. Not just the LRA, remember, it was a national amnesty. 27,000 combatants came and got the certificate and renounced rebellion against the government of Uganda from 28 different rebel groups. The total number of LRA combatants who came out courtesy of the Amnesty Act were about 13,000 to 15,000. So roughly half were LRA combatants. The other half were the other armed groups. There were West Nile Bank Front in West Nile. There was a Tongwa group here in Buganda, in central Uganda. There were ADF, the Allied Democratic Forces in the Rwenzori. There were other forces, People's Redemption Army, that were also fighting, that were broken off from the NRA, and they were fighting this government. So it probably turned out to be one of the most useful peace-building assets for Uganda. And certainly there were issues in terms of offering immunity to alleged perpetrators. But remember, in the case of the LRA, the majority were abducted children. So there was a very thin line between who was the victim and who was the perpetrator in the LRA question.